New Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to New Right Network Tonight. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the late-breaking news, wrapping it all up and making sense of it, exposing the fake news and giving you the real news. Today is Monday, 4/22/19, and what an incredible weekend right off the heels of Easter. We did our show on Friday, and we talked about Easter. We talked about Christ coming down to heaven, coming down from heaven, to save us from our sins. And I mean, if you've been plugged into the news at all, you know what has happened in Sri Lanka as we wake up Sunday morning here in America and we see the death toll is beyond anything that we've ever witnessed before, ever. Media just double standard. The fake news is out. Double standard. You've got all the Democrats also on double standard. And it's just unbelievable what we're seeing in real time. Social media has given us the opportunity to be able to report real news in real time. And this is New Right Network Tonight, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And again, my name is Brian Smith. Please crush the share, crush the follow. On Twitter, we have a new handle. And if you look in the title of the description, it's at NRN Tonight, at NRN Tonight. So if you follow myself or my cousin Kerry on Twitter, please double check and make sure you're following our channel at NRN Tonight. That's where only the shows will be broadcast. So all our shows will be broadcast on that handle only. So if you ever miss a moment or you miss a show, you can always double check that handle and see what's come up in the past or what's coming up in the future, because we'll also be posting information about the show. So at NRN Tonight is strictly the show. Also, if we do, like a Periscope or just a cast of some sorts, we'll put it up on that handle as well, so you won't miss a single moment. And again, New Right Network Tonight. Thank you very much, folks, for being on the show. Crush the share, crush the follow. Jump over to Smyth.tv. Help support the new news media that we are. And as we get into the news of the day, over the weekend, again, there was a lot of stuff going on, and I'm going to get into some real news that they're trying real hard to not inform you on what's really going on. And thank goodness for social media. We've got Donald Trump tweeting out about the economy. We've got Secretary Acosta tweeting out about the economy. And then accidentally, we get Politico doing a accidental drive-by with some real news. And they did an article, which is an incredible article to read. And for all those that don't know, down in the description below will be all the links to the articles and to the videos that I post up as well. So you can check that out, and we'll go over that. It's a great article. It attempts to make Reagan, supply-side economics, and Trump's dream team, tries to make it look bad somehow, but it's impossible with this economy rip-roaring like it is. Any article attempting to take away the heat or the excitement of this economy, that's going to fall flat. Nobody's buying it whatsoever. So we'll definitely get into that and all the information that Donald Trump is doing in order to make this economy great, in order to make America great, in order to make America first, agenda and then what we need to do to keep America great again. We're going to get into Sri Lanka and all the breaking news and the updating news. Who's at fault? Who did it? Why did they do it? Who's calling for more of this? You probably know the answers, but we'll get into the nitty gritty of it all and the updates, which is just horrific. Hearts breaking for those in Sri Lanka and the Islamic suicide bomber attacks over Easter. Over Easter. Anyway, so also get into the Mueller delusion, impeachment. At the same time, Friday comes, Friday dump. People are dumping information on Friday that you don't normally get. MSM will keep up with it. You and your family enjoying your Saturdays and your Sundays, so you're not really plugged into the news. So we'll catch you up on some of this information dump on Friday. Get into the delusion. The Democrats are running headstrong into a delusion of impeachment, collusion. It's just absolute insanity. And we've got some great clips from Donald Trump's lawyers, as well as some folks who used to be never Trumpers are coming around in full stride. Mark Levin just going to bat for Donald Trump and knocking it out of the park. Donald Trump actually retweeting Mark Levin and thanking him for his comments. We'll talk about that. Rudy Giuliani going to bat. We've got Jim Jordan, Mark Meadows. It's just incredible how some of these Republicans are really starting to step it up. And we've got some great information about big donors back in 2016 that refused to support Trump that are actually coming to Trump's aid. So I'm really happy about that. And I guess we could start off with it. This is kind of lighthearted news. Let's start off with this kind of lighthearted news at first, just to get the thing rolling. If you've been keeping up with, or maybe not keeping up with, the Avenatti debacle, this guy, the porn lawyer, this guy's just made an absolute train wreck of his life, desperate to me, look at me. And now it's come full circle to absolutely biting. And check this out. This tweeted out by @RealSaavedra, SaaVedra. Breaking: Avenatti accused of embezzling nearly $2 million that NBA player paid ex-girlfriend. Yep, there you go, Avenatti. You're reaping what you sow. You're getting your just desserts. It's what happens when you live your life as a very bad individual. Bad things tend to come back to haunt you. And I've got no love lost for that guy, that creepy porn lawyer. He's facing 238 years in prison, maybe more. Totally took advantage of Stormy Daniels. And I hate to say, I mean, that's her lifestyle. She's been taken advantage of her entire life. My heart goes out to her, and pray for her, and that maybe some way, somehow she can find peace in her life and move on. I don't think she's going to get any money out of that porn lawyer, Avenatti. I don't think that's going to happen. I know she's looking at trying filing a lawsuit against him, but crazy as crazy does. So as we're talking about the Mueller delusion, impeachment over the weekend, Democrats calling for the Mueller report shows that we now can impeach Trump. Well, if we look back in history and we look back at the Republican Party screaming impeach Clinton, that didn't go very well. And Clinton's numbers actually rose to some of the highest they'd ever been, although Bill Clinton was impeached by the House, not the Senate, for lying to Congress. He lied to Congress. I mean, the guy lies all the time, but when you lie under oath, okay, go for the impeachment. The sad truth of it all is that there were so many other scandalous things that they should have been in trouble for, the Clintons, whether it be cattle futures or Whitewater. I mean, just Watergate, Whitewater. I mean, just whatever it was with the Clintons that should have been impeached for. They didn't go down that road, and it was just unfortunate, and it made the Republicans look really awful, which garnered more support for Bill Clinton. And if you don't know, because mainstream media is not going to tell you about this. Donald Trump is garnering some of his highest approval ratings to date. He's up to 53%, tweeting that out over the weekend, as well as garnering the absolute highest, maybe even higher than Abraham Lincoln, going into Donald Trump's third year as president. Somewhere up around 95 to 96% of his own party supports him and his ideologies. And again, folks, we've got to get excited about what's going on with Donald Trump because when he ran 2016, they were all promises. Just like any other politician, promises, promises, promises. Now they're delivered. Promises made, promises kept. Now he's delivering them. He's showing us exactly what he's capable of doing. And it's just becoming absolutely apparent that 2020 is upon us and that Trump is going to win in a landslide. And when we get into this Mueller delusion, you're going to see even Noam Chomsky agrees with me that Donald Trump got a landslide 2020 coming. So with that being said, let's jump right into this stuff. Over the weekend, Representative Steve Scalise at STEVESCALISE. These are the people that you need to follow. Absolutely follow these folks. This is where you're going to get your real information. This is where we get our information all the time. And desperate Democrats spend years saying Trump colluded with Russia. Just weeks ago, they tried to dismiss the hashtag Mueller report summary by smearing Attorney General Barr and saying the full report would have evidence. It didn't. Now they must face the facts. There was no collusion. It's over. Move on. And here's a montage video that Steve Scalise put up on his profile.
Just release the Mueller report.
I think we should wait for the full report.
And so the president's basically saying to the public, be damned, and to your representatives, be damned. And we don't want to give you the full report.
Do we trust that he is going to release a summary that is a complete and full and accurate representation of the next report? We may never see what's in the report or really know what's in it. He may bury it.
We don't need you interpreting for us.
Attorney General Barr trying to interpret and distort and direct in another direction.
I think not only do we need the full report, but we also want all the underlying evidence. So we're asking for even more.
It's going to be very difficult for us to get the full report.
We go straight to this Fox News alert.
That's right. No collusion, no obstruction. After 22 months of investigations, the 448-page Mueller report clears the president and his team of colluding with Russia.
Democrats who said wait for the report to come out. It's out. No collusion.
The report is out today, and it doesn't look like it was the end of his presidency as of tonight.
Democrats, time to move on. Oh, this is so incredible. I love having the ability to see this in real time. We've never experienced technology like we have today, where I am able to put together a show of information for you folks with the information that's real news that we're able to get off social media, being plugged into our representatives on a regular basis. I mean, I can be plugged into Steve Scalise on a minute-to-minute, day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis to where I'm getting real-time information, thoughts from our representatives. It is an exciting time to be alive. And I know there's a lot of folks that watch the show, or you can listen to the show as well on iHeartRadio. A lot of folks that aren't on social media, a lot of people that aren't on Twitter. A lot of people are starting to close Facebooks out. A good friend of mine said that I had to shut my Facebook account. I can't keep up. I said, what do you mean keep up? Yeah, I can't keep up with the Joneses. I saw my buddy post up his house, his Hummer, all these different things. And, he's got a beautiful wife and kids and everything. And I'm like, man, I can't compete with that anymore. So I got to close that account. Folks, don't worry about it. Shut those accounts off. Don't be inundated by this stuff. Just plug into New Right Network Tonight. Sorry about that. New Right Network Tonight. And you can see the handle down there at NRN Tonight. And again, if you want to listen to audio only, iHeart.nrntonight.com. I'll put it in the description below. Just jump down in the description below. You see all the links to everything going on. And again, they're saying, We want to see it unredacted. We want to see this. We want to see that. Collusion, delusion, collusion, delusion. Well, check this out, folks. This is what you're not going to hear on mainstream media. One of the unredacted. Oh, daggone it. The Democrats were invited to see a portion or a different version with less redactions. They actually did two Mueller reports, one with the redactions that we all saw, and they did a second report for Senate Democrats to see a less redacted version. And you can imagine what happened. Democrats said, no, we don't want to see it. They denied wanting to see it. So there you go. What do you expect? What do you expect? And so over the weekend as well, and you may have seen this if you go to the grocery store today or tomorrow, whatever, the New York Post and now the New York Times. The New York Post, you'll probably see this in the newsstands at your local grocery store. So I'll put this one up. And Donald Trump in connection with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through social media. And for those of you audio only, Donald Trump posted up the first page or the front page of the New York Post. Big, giant letters. Says the Mueller report and the giant letters, Trump clean. No crime committed. Dems hoax destroyed. I mean, you can't get any better than that. And as the Democrat collusion delusion falling apart, absolutely nothing there, nothing to see there. It's getting very, very difficult to hold on to Russian collusion. It's very hard to hold on to Donald Trump obstruction. It is almost insane to hold on to that. There was a poll that was taken, I believe we talked about this last week, but I'll just repeat it again. There was a poll that came out from left hardcore leaning outlet, the Politico. The poll said 38% believe that Donald Trump was spied upon. It said 28% believe Donald Trump was not spied upon. That's just less than 70%. So what about the other 34%? So the other 34%, they didn't put that up. So 28 says no spying, 38 says spying, 34, I promise you, are saying unsure or not convinced yet. So not convinced and unsure. You're talking 72% of people polled from a leftist poll outlet. 72% say either Trump was spied upon or they're not sure or waiting for more evidence. That's enormous. That's 2020 enormous. And this right here by at Ryan A. Fournier, he puts this up. Boom! New York Times apologizes to Trump in stunning reversal, demands other media to do the same. Folks, this is the New York Slime, reported by KAG Daily, Keep America Great, KAG Daily. They're reporting on the New York Slimes, saying that and they're reporting on Donald Trump's tweet, so we'll jump over that real quick. See, this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is all the real information. Print is dead. MSNBC is dead. CNN is dead. CNN taking a ratchet hit in viewership, just all-time lows for CNN. And, this is the real news right here. We're watching it right here. Donald Trump tweeting out, do you believe this? Question mark. New York Times op-ed. Media and Democrats owe Trump an apology. Well, they got that one right. Donald Trump talking about that. And then we've got this one. I wanted to bring this up so I don't forget, but this at the DC Patriot, disgusting CNN's Ryan April says to behead Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And we'll get into that article here in a little bit. But as you can see, very easily, I'm able to jump around to 4 different links, if you will, and get just a boatload of information on what's going on with the Trump campaign, the mainstream media, the delusion of it all. It's just out of control, but I'm giving you the real news right here on New Right Network tonight. Again, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you set your alarm, plug in, go to, if you're on Twitter, go to @NRN Tonight, click the follow, and then make sure you put your notifications on for us on the Periscope so that you can get our show whenever it goes live. And then right after our show at 8 o'clock, we're on at 7 p.m. Eastern. Right after our show at 8 o'clock is the Wayne Dupree Show. So you don't want to miss that. 2 shows back to back that you don't want to miss Monday through Friday. And as we get into the delusion portion of the Democrat Party that just can't handle the truth, it's posted up by our friends. And we got friends. Yeah, we got friends on Twitter. This posted up by our friends on Twitter at Zionist Girl 18. Trump, there was collusion. We saw it. Remember the open mic on Obama? Here we go.
My life's much basically. Yeah. And after my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah. I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir and understand that.
After my election, I will have more flexibility. I will translate this to Vladimir. Vladimir. I'm in the middle of an election, man. Tell Vlad that as soon as my election's over, I have more flexibility. That's the real collusion, folks. Not only that, but the Democrats, the FBI, Christopher Steele, and a whole host of other knuckleheads meeting up at the embassy in the Ukraine, dealing with the crooked FBI version of the Ukraine, the crooked people in the Ukraine, crooked politicians being puppets of Putin, working together against Trump. This was a full-blown take. This was a full world globalist takedown of America. This would have been the end of America. We no longer would have been that shining city on the hill. Just, it was all over with. And so by the grace of God, our prayers have been answered by the grace of God. And this post, if it seems like I'm going fast, folks, I got a lot of information to get out to you that just unbelievable stuff that happened over the weekend. And I got to keep hitting it, got to keep going to make sure we get everything out. So we're going to just do everything we can to make that happen. When we talk about collusion, this tweeted out at Insider SWI, entire investigation based on a scam. You know it, Chuck. Replying to Chuck U. Schumer, because we're plugged into the bad actors as well. Chuck U. Schumer says the Mueller report shows how dense the Trump swamp is, how dishonest this president is, and how erratic the administration is. It's no wonder the middle class is not making progress under this administration. That's a flat out lie. The middle class is. We're going to get into the numbers on that one. We are going to end the show on some of the greatest news that you have not heard of and that you won't hear because this administration, because the mainstream media will not get out the administration's good news because they're attempting to help the Democrats again. And I don't know what happened to that. Here, let's jump back over here. Okay. So as Chuck tweets that nonsense, a total lie, total gaslighting of his party, a total lie, we've got the reply. Now, just wait. Keep winning as we wait for the real criminals to be arrested. It's that simple. You waxing poetic about it doesn't change reality. Love it. And he posts up this picture of mainstream media and people they're connected to when you feel like you had a hunch. First one, ABC News executive producer Ian Cameron is married to Susan Rice, national security advisor. CBS president David Rhodes is the brother of Ben Rhodes, Obama's deputy national security advisor for strategic communications. ABC News correspondent Claire Shipman is married to former White House press secretary Jay Carney. ABC News and Univision reporter Matthew Jeffy is married to Kate Hodgen, Obama's deputy secretary. ABC President Ben Sherwood is the brother of Obama's special advisor Elizabeth Sherwood, and CNN President Virginia is married to former Hillary Clinton's deputy secretary Tom Nids. So there you go. There's all the collusion for you folks right there. Mainstream media tied, deep ties to the Obama administration. Nobody's shocked and nobody's surprised, but getting the real information out to confirm your suspicions and to not fall into that trap that the liberal media or the Democrats, if you see them on the street and you're having a conversation with somebody, to don't fall down in that trap, to understand that, yes, this is collusion on the part of the Obama administration with the mainstream media. Now the delusion part, because we had collusion and now we got delusion. The delusion part, folks, this is why I do this. I love this job. I was born for this, folks, because I love doing this. And I love it when I find some incredible audio bites or videos for you guys to hear what's really going on. I don't watch this show. I've never seen this show. I don't even know this show, something called Rising. But I know for a fact my dad hasn't heard this show. And so with that being said, I think of him because he's not on social media and he doesn't watch these shows. And so I think about him and I'm like, you know what? These are great clips that people like him need to hear, because there are great patriotic Americans really fighting back, helping Donald Trump make America great again. And we know this great patriot, Joe DeGeneva, just an absolute champion for Donald Trump. He's on this show, and this is tweeted out by our friend at CHIZMAGA. Joe DeGeneva rips this fake news holy, this is on fire. I had to censor that for you guys, but listen to Joe DeGeneva just take at this woman calling Mueller a liar.
Suggest that Bill Barr is a liar. I've known him for 30 years. He's one of the finest lawyers this country has ever produced. He came back out of retirement to serve this country. There's not one shred of evidence that anything he said either the other day or now or today was a lie. Don't ever say that in front of me about Bill Barr. You have no evidence that he lied, and you know it.
What I'm telling you...
You said he may have lied.
What I'm telling you is that what he said this today in the press conference is inconsistent with what's in the report.
That's not a lie.
That's okay, fine.
It's not fine. You're on national television calling the Attorney General a liar.
I didn't say that.
You suggested it very strongly.
All right, I think we're done here.
I think we are.
I know I said Mueller liar, but Bill Barr, she's attacking Bill Barr for being a liar. Who wants to see that again? I tell you, I replayed this so many times this week, and I couldn't help myself.
Suggest that Bill Barr is a liar. I've known him for 30 years. He's one of the finest lawyers this country has ever produced. He came back out of retirement to serve this country. There's not one shred of evidence that anything he said either the other day or now or today was a lie. Don't ever say that in front of me about Bill Barr. You have no evidence that he lied, and you know it.
What I'm telling you...
You said he may have lied.
What I'm telling you is that what he said this today in the press conference is inconsistent with what's in the report.
That's not a lie.
That's okay, fine.
It's not fine. You're on national television calling the Attorney General a liar.
I didn't say that.
You suggested it very strongly.
All right, I think we're done here.
I think we are.
I think we're done here. Yes, I think we are done here. Joe DeGeneva taking it to the mainstream media. Folks, we are not sitting back quietly on these things anymore. I can remember a time, and maybe you can too, where, and I'm not picking on George Bush. That was a whole nother era. Bush fan, not a Bush fan, it doesn't matter. I'm just pointing it out that during the Bush era, it was difficult to find somebody that would stand up for Bush push back on these Democrats. They took 5 straight years to destroy Bush, to destroy Cheney, to destroy his entire legacy. And after 5 years was over and the smoke cleared, George Bush, Dick Cheney, and crew have been annihilated, never to be seen again. What are we doing here? This is what we're doing here under Donald Trump. We no longer are silent. We're no longer sitting back and taking this from the mainstream media who are absolutely lying about us and about Donald Trump. Never again will this be allowed to happen because of social media. We are able to fight back, able to get the real news, give it to you straight, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm telling you, folks, right here, New Right Network tonight at NRN Tonight. And again, right after our show at 8 o'clock, stay plugged in because Wayne Dupree is coming on right after our show. If you need the link to the show, just look in the description below, and that'll take you right over to Wayne Dupree so you can watch his show as well. And this was big. This was big. This mainstream media and the Democrats and the ones who support Democrat ideologies and the policies, these reporters, and you know April Ryan, she's made a household name for herself. She's gone and done it again. And check this out. This is awful. This is what causes the left to get violent, their supporters to get violent and angry. This April Ryan on CNN, just despicable as ever.
People's house. Therefore, she should be let go. She should be fired. End of story. When there is a lack of credibility there, you have to start lopping the heads off. It's fire me Thursday or fire me Good Friday. She needs to go.
So this was tweeted out at Real Saavedra. CNN's April Ryan says White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, not credible, therefore time to lop her head off. This is the violent rhetoric that the Democrat Party prey on, and they pray that their young voters buy into the violence. And the reason why April Ryan, and what she's responding to and why she's saying this, is because in the Mueller report, there's some information out there that Donald Trump and crew were feeding the mainstream media information that may or may not have been true. And I truly don't care. That's awesome that they're fighting back and the media complaining, thinking that they got a right to not be lied to or something. It's just absolute insanity. So I'm glad that April Ryan is showing her true colors. We can see it on display now on CNN, and also true colors. We got to get through this quick. I'm sorry, folks. We got to start getting through these articles. Mad Maxine is on display. And if you do not subscribe to Breitbart News, you absolutely should. This post up by Breitbart.com. Again, the link in the description below. Mad Maxine Waters. Not enough information in the report to move forward with impeachment. Sorry. Enough. Not enough. She's saying there's enough to move forward with impeachment.
Maxine Waters.
And I'm beside myself with this crazy nonsense. Check it out. Here's Mad Max over the weekend on a wretched show you'll never see, AM Joy.
Of the House Financial Services Committee. Happy Easter, Congresswoman, and thank you for sharing some of your Sunday.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Thank you. All right, let's talk about this because you really were there first in terms of calling for impeachment. Congressman Al Green also very early on saying that he would like to put on the floor articles of impeachment, but it's been slow in getting the leadership to come on board. After the Mueller report, do you believe that Democrats need to do additional hearings or some other interim step before proceeding to an impeachment hearing?
Well, Joy, let me just say and repeat that I have been calling for his impeachment for a long time because I understood very clearly who this man is, how he conducted himself during his campaign, and the kind of information we learned about him even before Mueller came on board. We've been waiting for Mueller to, make us comfortable with the fact that he is deplorable and he's not deserving of the presidency, and to find all of the evidence. Then we thought Barr, despite his background and what we know about him, was going to step up to the plate. And now we're waiting on the public to make us do it. The Congress really does have to.
And we're waiting for the public to make us do this. Folks, this is total lunacy on display right here. Mad Maxine beside herself, and now she's confirmed that she's early on. She's been calling for impeach 45, impeach 45. We knew this to be true. She would get on her talk shows and deny that she said these things. And now we see that it's true. And it's going to end very poorly for the Democrats. This is not going to work out very well for them. And on display again, I don't know how they who thought it was a good idea to pay Brian Williams to come back from his lockout or his shutout, because, you know, people who make up lies, no credibility, difficult to be a reporter, you would think. But for some reason, MSNBC felt that they need a good liar to come back. And now we got Brian Williams coming back to the fray. Total lunacy. And we got Jay Sekulow just knocking him down.
By Jay Sekulow, who is on the president's legal team. Counselor, thank you very much for joining us. Sure. My first question, I'm afraid, is going to verge on plain English. Where did the Attorney General get off with that characterization this morning, including 4 mentions that there was no collusion? What document was he reading compared to the one we're left with?
Well, page 2 of the document says the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. So it's right from the document itself.
Have you read part 1?
I have read part 1 and part 2.
Do you find good news in here for the president and the administration?
The investigation did not, page 181, the investigation did not establish that the contacts described in volume 1, that's the Russian contacts, amounted to an agreement to commit any violation of federal criminal law, including foreign influence and campaign finance laws. Yeah, I think it's a very good win.
Yeah, I think it's a very good win, too. Thank you, Jay Sekulow. Just hammering news right here on New Right Network tonight. Jump over to Smyth.tv. Check it out. Check out the shop. Stay plugged in. If you want to find out how to listen to us on iHeartRadio, you can see all the audio shows are listed there, as well as the show of the day will be there live. So if you ever have any questions, jump over there and you can watch the show live as it runs as well. So Jay Sekulow knocking it out. Just an incredible. I love him as a legal mind, as a very cool, calm, collective, refreshing individual. Just great stuff coming from Jay Sekulow. And now we've got the home run hitters, Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows. Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows are now on CNN. The fact that Cuomo brought him on is beyond me. I don't know what he was thinking. He thought maybe he could take a couple swipes at Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows. This ain't going too well. And Jim Jordan, and this is how we're staying plugged in, is Jim Jordan tweeting this out over the weekend for us. Matter of fact, he tweeted out on the 19th, which was Friday. Jim Jordan, we need to go back and look at how this fake Russia collusion narrative started. The start impacts everything else. And here we go.
So why do you care about one and not the other? It start because you have to go back to the beginning. If something starts on a false foundation, that is a problem. Remember, in May of 17, when Jim Comey gets fired, we deposed Jim Comey. Mm-hmm. He told us at the time when he was fired, they had zero evidence. And they've been looking at this for almost a year. Zero evidence of any type of coordination, collusion, conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia to impact the election. But what did Jim Comey do when he got fired? He leaked memos that he wrote to the New York Times for what? To manufacture the need for a special counsel. That's what we have to go back and look. And it was all based on
But why
what?
Can't you do
this
both?
False,
I am not rejecting
premise.
your premise. I am not arguing back at you about Comey. I'm not, but I'm saying this other stuff matters also.
Because, Chris, the start impacts everything else. You want to know why the president was so upset? Because he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do it. The start was completely false, completely built on this false premise.
You can't say they didn't do anything wrong. You can say they didn't do anything illegal. And I think it's an important distinction.
Chris, here's what happened here.
Please.
Go clear back to January of 2017 when it's President-elect Trump. Chuck Schumer is on one of the Sunday shows and he says this. Now remember, this is Chuck Schumer, the top Democrat in the United States Congress at the time. He says, when you mess with the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. That is exactly what happened. And that's why what Bill Barr said last week, when he said he's going to go back to the beginning, look at this spying that took place and get answers, is so important because it is never supposed to work this way.
No, he's absolutely right. And
so
you've got
why
this,
do you care?
you've got this Cuomo. You can't say they didn't do anything illegal, but or anything wrong, but you can say they illegal. No, man, illegal, wrong, whatever. It doesn't matter. Nothing happened. Donald Trump did not do anything wrong. Jack Posobiec tweeting out unhinged Russiagate conspiracy theorists now harass Robert Mueller. Easter Mass at Axios, AXIOS. And this is something you might not see. This is pretty disgusting, pretty despicable. But they, during Sunday Mass, Easter, mainstream media went and attacked Mueller.
Judge, can I ask you a couple of questions? Will you testify before Congress, sir?
No comment.
Are you sure about that, sir?
Sure.
Well, if he were anybody but the president, would Mr. Trump be indicted, sir?
They go on to harass.
Sir, why didn't he make a recommendation to Congress one way or the other, sir?
Are you going on vacation at least somewhere?
So the Attorney General accurately characterized your positions on conspiracy and obstruction, sir? I think it's accurate to characterize Director Mueller today as being tight-lipped.
And they think that that's funny. Going after Mueller, this does not look good for either side. I'm telling you right now. And then again, you guys got to see this. Mitt Romney is stepping all over himself and slamming Trump, screaming out at Trump. The only reason why he won in Utah was because Trump endorsed him. Mitt Romney, you're going to wreck yourself unless you join the Democrat Party, because Republicans that support Trump do not support you. Donald Trump tweeted this out over the weekend and pinned it to the top of his profile page. If at Mitt Romney spent the same energy fighting Barack Obama as he does fighting Donald Trump, he could have won the race. Maybe. And so check out this montage that Trump tweeted out.
I can't believe you're going to lose. Yeah.
Barack Obama will be reelected president of the United States.
Plan B, Plan C, Plan D are now gone. And so you start looking at the Romney math and you're saying, well then, what's Plan E?
Tears and a gloomy atmosphere as supporters left the convention center in Boston following Romney's concession speech.
That was a race, I have to say, folks, that should have been won.
I wouldn't call anything encouraging for Hillary Clinton at the moment, to be honest with you, my friend.
Hillary Clinton has called Donald Trump to concede the race.
President of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Donald J. Trump tweeting that out. Folks, some people are saying, well, I don't agree with what he does things. He's hitting hard. He's hitting back. That's how this is a new era. This president has to hit back, and he has to hit back hard. There's just no other way about it. And this Donald Trump tweeting this out, Mark Levin as well, hitting back hard because nobody else is going to do it. Donald Trump, thanks, Mark Levin. Thank you. Make America great again.
And why a special edition? Because our republic is at stake. Our very republic is at stake. The separation of powers has broken down. The rule of law has broken down. The media, who we rely on, the media have broken down. We have a mob mentality now in this country. At least half the people in the country and the majority in the House of Representatives. We're going to continue with this coup. And why do I call it a coup? Well, now we have the Mueller report. You've been hearing about it for several days. Here's the Mueller report. See the Mueller report? That's the Mueller report. Now, this is volume 1 of the Mueller report. Volume 1. You should enjoy this. It cost you $35 million. Now, volume 1 of the Mueller report's 200 pages. Why do they need 200 pages and $35 million to tell us there was no collusion? There was never any collusion. This collusion issue was pushed by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Obama administration. There are things that have been done in the last 3 years to candidate Trump President-elect Trump and President Trump. That should not occur in the United States of America. Senior levels of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. These individuals should be charged. They're the ones who interfered with our election, even more effectively than the Russians. They are still at it. Senior levels of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They planted a spy, that's right, a spy, in the Trump administration. They lied to federal courts, not once, but 4 times, the FISA court, in order to get a counterintelligence warrant. And they got it. And who were they spying on? Page? It was a backdoor effort to go after the Trump campaign. You had the Hillary campaign, the Obama administration, trying to take out the Republican candidate for president of the United States under the preposterous notion that he was conspiring with Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump has never in his entire life shown a dislike for his country. He loves his country. It is the people who have set this up who despise their country and despise our election system. We hear all the time from Democrats about suppressing the vote. They not only want to suppress the vote, they want to reverse the course of history. They want to change the outcome of an election. They hate the fact that Donald Trump won in 2016. Senior level of the FBI, senior intelligence officers, the White House, the Democrats, they did everything they could to prevent Donald Trump from being president of the United States. But you decided otherwise. You elected him president of the United States. They wanted their 3rd term of Obama. Well, they got their 1st term of Trump, and they are furious. This whole idea that there was collusion, you and I knew it from day one, that it was phony. Phony. But they used federal law enforcement, federal intelligence, and then they appoint a special counsel. There's no collusion, says the special counsel. That takes 1 sentence. It doesn't take 200 damn pages. It doesn't take $35 million. 1 sentence. No collusion, he says, by the president, by the campaign, by his staff, by the White House, by his family, by any American. No collusion. Then let me ask you a question. How the hell did he get appointed? How did he get appointed? McCabe, the deputy director of the FBI, does an interview on 60 Minutes. It's all about collusion. That Trump, well, maybe he is a spy. That Trump, well, we think he was working with the Russians. You had the media. The media in this country, we don't have a free press in this country. We have an unfree press in this country. And they're at it as I speak. All of a sudden, this part of the report, collusion, that's out. Now we go after obstruction. Now we go after obstruction. And I'll get to this in a moment.
Okay. He doesn't get to it in that clip, but I will tell you what he did say about that. Mark Levin becoming a champion for Donald Trump, was a never Trumper at first, but Mark Levin, he knows what's right. He's gotten it right. Rudy Giuliani, he takes out Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace, did he go to law school or was he a professor? This is disinformation, fake news on the Sunday show at Gates Robin. Just an incredible wealth of knowledge coming out of social media. Let's see where else. At Frank Thorpe News, the 6 congressional Democrats invited to the DOJ to view less redacted version of Mueller report. They all declined. I said that at the very beginning. Mueller investigation by the numbers. This is by Donald J. Trump. He tweets this out. Folks, you got to see. Here, I'll show it to you, but then I'll read it because there's no audio. But right here, Donald Trump tweets out this video. $30 million plus spent. 18 Democrats. 675 days. 2,800 subpoenas. 500 witnesses. 0 collusion. 0 obstruction. Donald Trump with a glass of water, tipping it to the crowds. You got to love this president. The ability to withstand all this pressure, the ability to look back at the Democrats, the party, the deep state and the coup, and just to smile back at them. Report, this by Gateway Pundit. Apparently, there's some information spilling out that Donald Trump is preparing to declassify the Carter Page FISA documents in coming weeks That will be very exciting. And this at Cat the Hammer, she goes down a list of Republicans and what they have done since the beginning of the Republican Party. 1854, Republicans founded as the anti-slavery party. And there we go. 2, sign the Emancipation Proclamation by executive order. Passed 13th Amendment, ending slavery. Emancipation Proclamation. Passed 14th Amendment, giving equal protection and rights to former slaves. 5, passed 15th Amendment, allowing black men to vote. 6, elected first black senators and representatives. 7, passed Civil Rights Act of 1957. 8, blocked Democrats from segregating schools. 9, passed Civil Rights Act of 1960. 10, Republicans made MLK birthday a national holiday. This is not the Democrat Party. This is the Republican Party. And yes, Donald Trump has hijacked the Republican Party. And I was going to play this one for you, but we're really running close at time. At Glenn Greenwald, Norm Chomsky, Dems just possibly gave Donald Trump the 2020 win. So I'm really excited about that. And we got to jump into what was breaking over the weekend. Over the weekend, it's just horrific, the bombings in Sri Lanka. Easter morning, as we're waking up here on the East Coast, we're getting reports of Sri Lanka. There were suicide bombers. I believe to be up to 8 different suicide bombers that went to churches and hotels, and 290 dead. 290 dead. 450 injured. In an island country off of India that has a very small population compared to anywhere else. I believe the population is only about 2 million. And for this many, this is probably the most horrific suicide bombing that we have seen in years. I got no words for it. It's so bad. And if you folks, I'm a little confused by this individual's tactics, but this is at Imam of Peace, at IMAMOFPEACE, Imam of Peace. I've been following him for a while because he tweets out in a very cryptic way, because it almost seems like he's calling for Islam to become peaceful, and he's misguided because Islam will never become peaceful. Especially if you're a conservative Islamist, you must hold the Quran dearly and follow it to the letter of the law. And the Quran says to behead those that do not convert. Anyways, he tweets this out just in. Intelligence officials in Sri Lanka warned that terrorist elements, including the radical Islamic organization NTJ, would carry out a suicide attack in certain churches during Easter. Folks, they were given the heads up weeks prior. Weeks in advance, they were given heads up that there was going to be an Islamist attack at churches during the most holy, sacred day that we have next to Christmas. I mean, there's only two of the most holiest days, and both of them have to do with Jesus Christ. Christmas, his birth, and I don't care. I know he wasn't born on December 25th for those of you, crazy knucklehead. It doesn't matter. The fact that we symbolize and have that day specifically for him, and then the death and resurrection, Easter, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, the only religion, if you will, that has ever beaten death. And I'm saying that because one, it's true, but two, they're false religions because they have no answer to death. Not only that, but our history is based on Christ. Christ's birth, Christ's death. Our history is based on Christ. Our calendars, our time, everything is based on Christ, folks. And I'm not here to debate and convert anybody at this point in time. But so on one of the most holiest days, and he also tweeted out a few Islamist terrorist organization. He tweeted out and listed. He went to 146 different Muslim terrorist organizations across the country. Look at the show notes below. That's down there. The link's down there. There are 143 different terrorist organizations. Al-Shabab in Africa, Murabitun in Africa, Al-Qeada Africa, Al-Qeada Islamic Maghreb, Al-Qeada India subcontinent, Al-Qeada Arab Peninsula, and Hamas in Gaza. All these Islamic terrorist organizations, they war against each other. But when the big war comes, that means getting rid of the infidels. They join forces and war against the infidels. And when that is over and they're done warring with infidels, then they go back to warring with each other. It's insanity. That's been their lifestyle for 1,500 years. That's what they do. It's built on war. This great article by Fred Warner. Fred Warner is a writer at New Right Network, one of the great minds and great writers. And this is the article that he put up. Take a look at this real quick. This is on the website, newrightnetwork.com. And his article goes into Islam advancing or CARE was designated a terrorist organization by the UAE. Ties to Muslim Brotherhood may go back further than anyone thinks. Follow this timeline to find out. And the link for the article is below, and you should absolutely check it out. And there's an advertisement to the right there. It says, visit New Right Network's campus hub. The university conservatives have joined the big tent party, if you will, of New Right Network. So glad to see the youth coming on board. Great writers coming out of that as well. Chris at Chris _A10 _USA Jihad Watch. Jihad Watch is an absolute website that you should visit often. The Grand Ayatollah Khomeini out of Iran has given the worldwide Muslim community dignity as a result of jihad. This is a quote directly from the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah is the religious head of the Iran regime. In Islam as well as in communism, the government is the religion. Because in communism, all religions are banned, so you wind up worshiping the government and being beholden to them. Same with Islam. None of them coming out of Iran. And breaking news, Donald Trump has cut zero, all the way down to zero sanctions, or put all sanctions on Iran, and so that we are now not purchasing any oil whatsoever. And all those who do purchase oil from Iran, we're putting sanctions on them as well. So Donald Trump really hitting back hard at Iran. But this is from the Ayatollah. He says, referring to the spirit of sacrifice and jihad among the people, nation of Iran, His Eminence stated, wherever in the world where there is a war is taking place, people with worldly motives go to the front lines, but the martyrs of Islam, Iran, went to jihad with love, enthusiasm, and devotion for the guardianship of jurisprudence. He's telling everybody to go ahead and it's all right, go out and kill. This came out just before the bombings in Sri Lanka. And this from the Quran, 9:111, jihad, martyrdom, killing and being killed for Allah. It's what they believe. This is the religion of death. And then Jihad Watch again. Turkey Youth Foundation Islamic call to prayer is a renewal of intention to conquer Rome, conquer New York, conquer Paris, conquer Vienna. They're coming for us because they say so. And now we see it. Islam cannot coexist with any religion anywhere in the world. Islam cannot coexist with any society anywhere in the world. This attack on Sri Lanka is an attack on humanity, not only Christianity, but humanity in general. We have come so far in humanity to where we can live freely and respect one another, except when it comes to Islam. and the conservative, not radicals. This is the mainstream. This is the main road of Islam, folks. And again, Donald Trump tweeted this out. Iran sanctions, Saudi Arabia and others in OPEC will make up the oil flow difference in our now full sanctions on Iran oil. Iran is being given very bad advice by John Kerry and people who helped him lead the U.S. into a very bad Iran deal, nuclear deal. Big violation of the Logan Act, John Kerry. I'd like to see that put into play. And all kinds of information coming. This is an old video, but this is very relevant. This is in Spain. This is a couple of years old. This is coming out of Spain for you, those of you audio only. This shows a raft of Muslims dressed up in a all black gear, jumping out of a raft on the ocean, on the beach in Spain to reconquer and conquer. Spain having its own problems with Islam as well. Islam likes and cares for nobody. You don't convert, you will die. And that was the other big story this weekend. Check this out. This is just wretched, awful, coming out of the Democrats. This is out of the Democrats. This is what they did over the weekend. All Democrats have been instructed, this at Emerald Robinson, all Democrats have been instructed to avoid calling those who were murdered in Sri Lanka Christians. It's important that Christians return the favor and avoid voting for politicians who do such things. Barack Hussein Obama, retweeted out by Jack Posobiec. Thank you, Jack. Obama said the attacks on tourists and Easter worshippers in Sri Lanka are attacked on humanity. One day devoted to love, redemption, and renewal. We pray for the victims and stand with the people of Sri Lanka. This by Hillary Clinton. On this holy weekend for many faiths, there's only one faith that this is the holy weekend, you woman, you crazy, wretched old woman. You spawn of Satan. We must stand united against hatred and violence. I'm praying for everyone affected by today's horrific attacks on Easter worshippers and travelers in Sri Lanka. This by Julian Castro. On the day of redemption and hope, the evil of these attacks on Easter worshippers and tourists in Sri Lanka is deeply saddening. My prayers today are with the dead and injured and their families. May we find grace. ABC News, tourist, Easter worshippers lament the closure of Notre Dame. What? Yeah, this is the insanity. If you are a Christian, you cannot be a Democrat no longer. If you are a Christian, you cannot be a Democrat. At Trump 45. Great information coming out. You must follow her. She is an incredible Trump supporter and great news media, if you will. Posted this video up, and it's in a foreign language, but the words she put up here. Did you know that in early 1900s, Christians made up 20% of the population in the Middle East? Fast forward to 2015, and it's gone down to only 5%. They're being tortured and slaughtered in record numbers, and guess what? MSNBC could care less. This is a fact. Christians are being slaughtered in the Middle East. All of Egypt was Christian at one time. All of Turkey was Christian at one time, and no longer, no more. And this is something we have to wake up to. Folks, we've got to wake up to the fact that this really did happen. Picture of Omar and Rashid Tlaib. This tweeted out at Ayla for Trump. They used the Quran to be sworn in on. They were elected to an American Congress. Anyone see anything wrong with this? Yes. Yes, it is so it's so wrong on so many levels because their faith is their government, which is the opposite of our government, and it cannot stand. It cannot be. And this, there's all kinds of stories out there. This one, I can't go into it too much, but a Pakistani woman who married another man, a different man that her dad wanted her to marry. Her dad wanted to marry his brother, her uncle. She didn't. She married somebody else. The dad, the uncle, and the family stoned her to death. Come to find out she was 5 months pregnant. It's an honor killing. You know, it's honorable. We got to keep the honor in the family. Total insanity. And so here's some of the great news, folks. We got great economic news. This is the Trump economy. At Real Donald Trump, jobless claims in America and the United States have reached their lowest level in over 50 years. You're never going to hear that anywhere else. At Megavolt 001, the USMCA, Donald Trump's new trade agreement, to boost the U.S. economy and jobs. Trade panel finds new trade pact would raise the United States real GDP by $68.2 billion or 0.35% and create 76,000 new jobs, according to the report. This by Epoch Times. And at Secretary Acosta, for 13 months in a row, the unemployment rate has been at or below 4%. POTUS. And at Politico, I'm sorry I couldn't get into this story, and I'll get into it tomorrow. But at Secretary Acosta, at Politico, Reagan's supply side warriors blaze a comeback under Trump. Stephen Moore, Art Laffer, Larry Kudlow, Steve Forbes, and Dave Malpass, the supply side economics and how that is doing in America. And apparently we all know it's doing phenomenally well. Supply side is an economic theory that holds that lowering taxes on corporations, governments can stimulate investment in industry and thereby raise production, which will in turn bring down prices and control inflation. Very simple concept that has worked both times it's been tried, Reagan and now under Trump. This by the incredible Kellyanne Poles. Kellyanne Conway, you can follow her on Twitter, Kellyanne Poles, just a brilliant woman. And this is a brilliant move. She's being interviewed by ABC News outlet. And this is her response to ABC News.
This is the success of the Democrats in the first 100 days in Congress. Here it is. There's nothing.
Kellyanne, can I ask you?
One more time.
The success of the Democrats in the first 100 days in Congress. Here it is. There's nothing.
Kellyanne, can I ask you?
This is the success of the Democrats in the first 100 days in Congress. Here.
She's holding up a blank white sheet of paper. Kellyanne Poles knocking it out, folks. This is what's going to wreck the Democrats. All this anger, hate for Donald J. Trump, all this anger and hate for America. And now we see that it is on full display as the left is finding it extremely difficult. This at DFB Harvard. The left is finding it extremely difficult to combat capitalism and also lower deregulation and lower taxes. It's finding it impossible because it works. This at DFB Harvard. 40,000 people have left New York City in the past 2 years. The exodus is ramping up. Why? High taxes, no services, corrupt government. That is your Democrat Party on display, folks. And again, you're watching New Right Network tonight. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news. Share this with your friends and your family. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and please follow our new handle on Twitter at NRN Tonight, at NRN Tonight. That'll be just our shows and our scopes only, so you'll never miss a moment and have all that information right there. Whew. Monday motivation, guys. Get out there, talk to your friends, your family, and get connected. Get plugged into the New Right Network at newrightnetwork.com and at smith.tv. See you tomorrow for Thursday's Thoughts. Have a good evening.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.